So I'm going to make my screen full screen again. So what we're going to learn now is how to reset the password. Okay. How to reset the password. So how do you reset the password? You go to the start menu, you go to computer, you right click, and you go to what? Manage. Do you see users, local users and group? Yes. So you click on local users and group. So we'll come to the folder where you have users. You double click on it. Did you see Sam DJ there or whatever username you have created on yourself? Yes. Now to reset the password, all you need to do is to click on it. You right click and you say set password. Then you click on proceed. So my password was Monday before, so I will just put Monday 2. I'll come again, Monday 2. I'll click OK. Now, you say the password has been what? Set. So when people forget their password, you log in as an administrator, go through this process, then you reset the password of the user. Let's try it. I'm going to come now. I'm going to kind of log off to see if my password was successfully reset. Now I'm going to type Monday. I'll press enter. It says the password is incorrect. I type it again. It says password is what? Incorrect. So now I'm going to type my password I've just changed to, and now it's logging in. Are we together? That is how to reset. So when people forget their password at home, you don't need to create a new user. What you need to do, you go to the where we just clicked on now, and you do what? You reset the password. Okay, I'm going to click on restart later. No, we're going to restart soon. The next task I want to talk about is turning off the Windows features. There's a whole lot of Windows features you have on your computer you can turn off. Remember when we were doing the installation, we had copying, we had extracting, and the third one was installing the features of Windows. Is that not correct? And one of those features is called the search. Are you getting me? The Windows search bar. You can see the search bar here, right? Where you can search for anything. So let's say you are required to disable that because we don't want somebody to just walk into your computer, look for names of folders, and they can be able to find them easily. So how do you disable or remove the search icon? You go to the control panel. You see control panel? Click on it. Okay, now we can come back and expand and say category. Can you click on category? You get something. You get your computer settings back to the way it was before. Now, did you see where it says programs? Now click on that. You've clicked on programs. Is that not correct? Now, did you see programs and features? Click on it. Now, on the right hand side, is it on the right or on the left? On the left. Did you see where it says turn off features on and off? Click on it. You notice it starts loading, right? It's now turning on the features on and off. Also, there are a lot of programs that have been turned on, just like the diagram I showed you on your screen. There's a whole lot of programs. Now, games is turned on, right? Yes or no? I can take it out. You won't get games anymore. Let's scroll down again. Let's scroll down. Do you see Windows Search? It's a feature. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to turn it on. It says, are you sure you want to turn it off? I'll say yes. Now everything is turned on. There are some things that are not turned on. Those things can be turned on later on. You can actually check them and those features will also be on. Now that we've done that, you notice we unchecked the games, right? If you see on the games icon, you see a plus sign, like a drop down box there, right? if you click on it, it tells you all the type of games. So probably I only just want everybody to use, let's say heart. I only just want heart to be there. So games will be there, but only heart will be available. So we'll check this now. I'm going to click OK. It's going to ask us, it's going to boot for a while, and it's going to ask us to probably restart our computer if need be. And when we restart, the moment you reboot your computer, that particular features will no longer be there. So we're going to click on restart now. So we'll just wait for our Windows to restart. I don't know if it's because the projector is coming up. So Windows is loading. Okay, I'm going to enter my password. Okay. Now let's click on the start menu. Do you see the search features there? It's gone. Okay, let's go to programs, games. Okay, we probably have only one game there, which is Hearts. Oh, you don't have any? No, there's no game there. You see there's no game there, right? Yeah. Are we together?
I think so. No, I think the problem came. We should have selected games.
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't. No, we didn't want to put Hearts. I took it out. Yeah, we didn't put any game. But we only allowed, the folder was there. We allowed the folder to be there, but the game is not there. No games were selected. Yeah. So that's all, guys. You've taken the games. That's all. You don't need an antivirus or yeah. Okay, guys. The next thing we want to do is to configure the autoplay. Autoplay means when a device comes up on your system. So if you go to start menu, if you go to control panel, and of course you can come here and change from category. You can take it to small icons. Did you see autoplay there?
Yes, sir.
So when you click on that, it brings up a window. Now you notice by default, if an audio CD is logged into your computer, which action do you want to happen?
I see.
No action, meaning no action will happen. Now it's using the default settings. Are you getting me? The default settings already says, okay, play with open and play the CD with media player, open with Windows Explorer, or ask me every time. Are we together? So right now it's asking you to choose the default. If you scroll down, if you're going to do a software installation, what do you want? Install the program. You want to play a video file, what do you want? You scroll down. Blank CDs, Blu-rays. This is what we mean auto what? Play. Every time you plug in any of the devices that have any of those files, what do you want them to behave like? If you come back here, you can reset them back to default. Everything goes back to default.
I think it's safe if you, especially for the USBs.
Okay.
It's safe to take no action.
Yeah, of course. If you notice that those comes with movies and things like that, you come here and say no action. That's all. Like those are the blank DVDs, and those are your mixed contents. Anything having mixed content, you come here and say take no action. Because remember, the computer automatically sees this device and detects them, and it plays them automatically. So those are things you want to also work with on when installing your system. Now, the big one I'm actually going to is setting up advanced sharing. Sharing. Now, listen. Your folder cannot be shared if you do not. You may share a folder on the network, but the people on the network can only see your folder if you've allowed the sharing, the advanced sharing, to be put on. So I can share a folder, but the next person is not seeing it. The reason is because I've not activated my advanced sharing option. Now, where's the advanced sharing option found? I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to go to. Did you see your network here? You see your network adapter? Yes. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to say open network and sharing what? Center. Then the dialog box will come up with network and sharing center. Are we together? Now, if you notice there on the left hand side again, it says change advanced sharing what? Settings. So I'm going to click on change advanced sharing what? Settings. Then it's going to change. Now, if you notice, you have different options there, right? The first one says turn on what? Network discovery, meaning people should be able to discover my computer on where? The network. The second one says file and printing sharing. Is it turn on or turn off? It's turn what? So what am I going to do there? Turn it on. Are we together? Then if you screw down again, it says public folder what? Sharing. I'm just going to put this, I'm going to postpone this to 4 hours time. Okay. Now it says public folder sharing. You notice that it says turn on and turn off. By default is what? So that the folders is not shared on the public network. So when the public folder is on, people on the network, including home group members, can access what? Public what? Folders. Okay, it's fine. We'll put it on. Remember I talked about media streaming, but I think I will move it to N+. If you notice here, media streaming is off. It says choose your media streaming what? Option. This is where you want to allow somebody else in another computer to be able to play the movies on your system. But then you will need to use it on the network. But we're going to leave it off. We'll talk about it when we get to N+. Now, if you scroll down again, it says file sharing connection. If you notice, it says use 122-bit encryption to protect what? The file sharing what? Connection. Recommended. Now, if you notice downwards, it says password protection. Meaning turn on password protection for what? Sharing. Meaning whenever a user wants to open your folder, they will need to be authenticated.
Username and password.
Exactly. So that is all. Then we'll click on save changes.
Okay, so if I turn off password protection sharing, so anyone that's on the network or
won't be able to see your shared folder.
But if I turn off,
if you turn it off, they won't be able to see your shared folder.
Okay.
That's what it means. Okay, it's saved. The next thing I actually want to do, now is to give you a scenario, and I want you to pay attention to this very, very, very carefully. Pay attention to this. If you have not been listening to me, you want to listen to me now. We've just set up a shared folder, and we have 3 users that log into this computer. For example, these users belong to different departments, and this organization has different folders. So let me start with a scenario. The company it's the name of my computer, like the name of your computer. And they have 3 folders. One of the folders is called sales. The other one is called debit. The other one is called credit. Now, these 3 folders contain sensitive information that can only be accessible by certain individuals. We have 3 individuals who work in different departments. We have John, we have Peter, we have James. Now, these are the 3 users. There are also other users, but we're just using these three because we know them, that they work in this department. But the question is that who are this department? What's the name of this department? The first department is sales, DPT. The second department is debitors, DPT. The third department is creditors, creditors, DEPT. So these are the three departments. Are we together? Now, John is a member of that department. Peter is a member of this department. James is a member of this what? Department. Now, you've been asked to give them permissions. The permissions was not unique to the users. They were not unique to what? A group. So you were not asked to set up a group. So since it's much easier, since they all belong to a department, it would be better to set up what? A group what? Department. So I'm going to create a group. So my first group is going to be called sales department, debitors department, and creditors department. These are what? The three groups. Are we together? According to the permissions by the organization, we are asked that the sales department should be able to read, the credits. Are we together? Read and write sales. No access debitors. Debit. Sales department. Who's a member of the sales department? Meaning whoever John is and whoever the others is that is part of sales department should be able to read the credit folder. They should be able to read and write the sales folder. They should not have access to what? The debit folder. Okay. Let's go back. Debitors. Debitors should be able to read, credit, and write. Read sales. No access to what? No. Read and write debits. Creditors. They should be able to read and write credits. What else again? They should be able to read and write sales and read only debits. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Are we together?
Yes,
okay. So these are the three groups and these are the permissions that have been assigned to them. The question now, how are you going to accomplish this? So let's start with the first step. We have to create how many folders?
3.
So let's use the desktop. Let's minimize. Let's come to the desktop, right click, new folder. We call the first one sales. You can be faster than me, you don't need to follow me. Right click again, new folder. We call the other one debit. Right click again, new folder. We call the other one credits. So we now have the three folders. So what I want us to do, I want us to go into the folders and create content in them. Are we together? Huh? I want us to create content in them. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open sales. Then I'm going to right click on the empty that this folder is empty, I'm going to go to new. I'm going to say new text document. And I'm going to write sales 001. That will be the name of my file, sales 001. The moment you right click and say new document, is going to highlight it. Just write sales 001. So double click on it and open it. And say updated sales for March 2014. Then of course you come to file, you click save, and you close. So do the same for the rest of the other folders. Debit.
Can we save it?
Yeah, yes. Debit, new, text document, debit, 001. You open the debit folder, updated, reports. You can write anything there, you don't need to follow me, okay? Updated reports for March debit. I'll go to file, save, and I close. I open credit, new, text document, credits, 001. I open credit, then I type updated credits report March 2014. Come to save, close, and that is it. So those are the 3 folders there, and they've been set up. Okay, the next step we need to do is to create the 3 users that we know, though there are more users, right? So we need to create 3 users. So how do we create the users? We go to the start menu. We go to computer, we right click, and we click on what? Manage. So we come to local users and groups. We double click on users. We only have our built-in user, which is the administrator, right? So let's create the 3 users. We have John, James, and what? Peter. So new username, it's John. First name is John, because that's the only thing we have. Password, you can use your whatever password you like. You'll notice it says user must change password at next logon. Meaning when John comes into the computer, the moment John enters Monday, it will ask John to put its password by personalizing the password for himself. So only John gets to know only that password. But in this case, we're going to uncheck that. We're going to say password, user cannot change password, okay? We'll just leave it like that because we're just using it for practice. So we'll click create. While still on that same menu, we'll type Peter. We'll go to name, Peter. Password, it's Monday. Uncheck. User never changed. The user cannot change password. Create. The last person will be what? James. So we'll come back. James, space, James. Monday. Uncheck. User must change password. User cannot change password, and click create. Now if you close now, you'll see all the 3 users are what? Created. But we actually don't want to work with the users. We actually want to work with who? The group. Is that not correct? So did you notice on the right hand side underneath local users and group, you also see a folder called groups. So let's click on groups. So we have some built-in groups already. So we're going to create our own group. So our first group is what? Says what? Department. Is that not correct? Now, did you notice here it says members? Do you see members there? Do we have any members there?
No.
So we need to add members. So how do we do that? You go to the icon where it says add. So we type add. Now it says enter the object name. You know, in Windows we call users objects, we call computers objects. Are we together? So what I'm going to do there, I'm just going to type John. Is John part of sales?
Yes.
So I'm going to type John. When I type the word John, I'm going to say check names. Once I check names, it automatically picks up John. It says John do exist. So most of the times, if you were to write somebody here and says Thomas, you're going to get an error like this. Because Thomas does not exist. Are we together? So whenever you get this error, don't be alarmed. Look at the words. Probably you're missing a letter. So I'll cancel now. I'll type John.
It's almost like verifying.
Yeah. Check names. Indeed, John do exist in my PC. So I'm going to click OK. And automatic John becomes what? A member. So I'll click create. What's our next department? Debit. Is it debitors or debit?
Debtors.
Debtors what?
Department.
Is it DPT? Just want to correct. DPT, okay. DEPT. So it's debitors what? Department. And who's a member? Peter. So we type Peter. And that's it. Peter do exist. So we click OK again. We say create. The last one is what? Creditors. Departments. Who's a member? James. So we click check names. OK. Create. Now that is it. We are done. We've set up the users, set up the group. Now let's carry out the permissions. So we minimize. Now we go back to the folder because this is the content we want to distribute, right? So let's start with sales. I'm going to right click on sales. I'm going to go to properties. Do you see sharing here?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm going to go to sharing. Then I'm going to come to advanced sharing. I'm going to click on advanced sharing. Did you see share this folder?
Yes.
So I'll click share this folder. I'll leave the name sales. Did you see permissions here?
Yes.
So I'm going to click on permissions. Now by default, everyone is what? Allowed to read.
Yeah.
But we were specifically told these are the people that should have what? Permissions. So what do? You make sure every other person that is giving permission is what? Is out. So what do? You select everyone and you say what? Remove. And there is nobody there. So we were told that on sales, what should happen to sales? Let's go back to our words. On sales department, let's look at it. The sales department has read and write. Is that not correct? Debitors have only read. Creditors does what? Read and write. Is that not correct?
Okay. Yes.
Is that not correct? So let's go back. So we click on add. We type sales. What do sales have? We click check names. Something is wrong. Actually, our group was not sales. It was what? Sales what?
Department.
Do we have now sales department? Exactly. So we click OK. Sales department, what can they do? They can read and what? Write. Meaning they can read and what? Change.
Change.
Is that not correct? Though we're going to get to read and write, okay? This is on the shared permission. We're still going to the NTFS permission. Remember, the shared permission only works on the network when you're in another computer. NTFS permission works within the computer. So we're going to do the NTFS permission as well. Okay? So we're going to click change as well. So that is sales department. So we're going to click add. Whose department again? Debitors, right? Debitors department. Debitors department, what permissions do they have?
Read, credit, and write.
Debtors department, they have only read, right? Is it not read?
Yes.
So we click OK. Debtors department, of course, by default is what? Read. So we leave it. Then the creditors department. What do they have? Read and what?
Right.
Read and write. Read and what? Write. So if you check, creditors is correct, debitors is correct, sales is also what? Correct. So we click apply and we click on what? Okay. We click apply again and we click on what? Now that is for shared permission. Are we together? That is shared permission. The second permission we're going to now is called NTFS. So we click on security. If you see on security, there's so many permissions there, right? Is that not correct? Okay. So, but we don't want the users on the system to have permission. So we come to click on the edit. Then you see systems, you click remove. It says you cannot remove system because this object inherits permission from its parent. So to remove system, you must prevent the object from inheriting the permission. So turn off inheritance permission, then remove system again. Remember I talked about inheritance.
Yeah.
That by default, whatever you put a user onto a computer, it automatically what? Inherits what? The permission. Is that not correct? So we're going to close this. Now, if you come to DJ, which is administrator, he has almost all the rights. Is that not correct? If you come to administrators, administrators have what? All the rights. So actually, these three users do not pose to be a threat. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to click on add. We're going to do the same thing again. Sales.
Sure.
Check names. Now, sales have the ability to do what? Read and what?
Read, execute, list folder, contents.
It was only read and write. Is that not correct? So we'll leave it as that. Read and write. That's all. If you scroll down. Or check anything that has been checked, only check read and what? Write. Right. Okay. So we add the debitors.
When you say apply or okay?
No. Still go and add. Yeah. Debitors should only do what? Read. Is that not correct? So we uncheck everything. We only allow what? Read. We add the creditors.
Read and write.
Creditors can do what? Read and what?
Right.
So we uncheck read and execute, list folder, read and write. Okay, apply now and okay. And close. We're done. Now you do exactly the same thing for debits and credits. So let's go. Excuse me?
So that was only for the one.
Yes. I'm not too fast. It's
There's a video.
yes.
There's a video.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's finish the rest. Let's go to debit. But before we go to debit, let's look at our permission. On debit folder, the debit folder, the permissions is on the sales. Okay, we were looking at the sales folder, right? So debit folders, no access for the sales department.
Yeah.
And read and write, the debitors department, they have read and write. The creditors department, they have read only. Okay, so let's go. Property, sharing, advanced sharing, share this folder, shared permissions. We remove everybody, right? We add, then we start with sales. Sales department, check names. Sales what is what? Deny. Is that not correct? Is that not correct? According to the permission here, it says sales should be what? Denied, no access.
Check
So
everything.
we deny everything.
We check it, once you check the first one, automatically everything is denied.
Okay.
So we click on add, debitors, department, check names. They can do what? Read and what? Write. Then we add creditors. Now it should be more faster, huh? Sorry, I think I missed the spelling of creditors.
Creditors is read.
Yeah, read and write. Creditors is read and write. No, read only. I think read only. It's read only. Read only. So creditors is read only. So we're fine. So click apply. Now it says you're setting a denied permission entry. Denied entry takes precedence over allowed entry. This means that if the user is a member of two groups, one is that is allowed a permission, another is denied, the denied permission will take effect. Is that not what I told you guys?
Yes.
So we want to say yes, it's fine. So we click OK, apply, and what? Okay, so we go to security tab, we do edits, we do the same thing. Sales, department, check names, we come to deny. Is that not correct? We check deny, then everything is denied automatically. We go to debitors, department, check names. Debitors can do what? Read and what? Read and write. Okay, then the last one, it's creditors. And it's read and what? And read only, right? Read only. So we click apply. Of course, it's going to bring up that pop-up because we denied somebody. So we'll say yes, it's fine. Okay, close. So let's go to creditors. Creditors, the sales department can only read, debitors can only read, and only the creditors can read and what? Right. Every other person can read. Is that not correct? It's as easy as that, guys. So let's go back. Shared folder, advanced sharing, share this folder, permissions, remove everyone, because everyone is everybody and everybody is everyone. Is that not correct? Okay. So we start with the sales, department, check names, and they can do what? Read only. Debitors, department, they can do what? Read only. And the creditor, department, they can do what? Read and what? Write. Make sure your mouse is always on the user or the group before you select, because you might make mistake like that. I'm just giving you that warning because most of you will get those mistakes. So we click apply. Apply again. We go to security. We do the same thing. Sales, department, check names. Okay. They can read only. Read only. Debitors, department, check names. They can read only. Make sure no other permission is checked. Creditors, department. Of course, they can read and what? Write. Sorry, read and write. So we'll click apply. Okay. Okay. Now, let's see if the sales, who is part of the sales department? John. Okay, let's log into John's account. Let's go to the switch. We'll click on switch user. Did you see all the users you've created? Now let's go to John. Of course, the password is Monday. And it will be preparing a desktop. So what we're going to do, John is going to try to log in the computer and try to see if he can access. What is John's group disabled for? Says what it says not allowed to access. Debtors. So let's try to go to the debtors folder and try to access it on the network. So we'll click on start. We go to computer. We'll go to network. You see your computer here. Is that not correct? Did you see your computer there? Huh? Did you see your computer there? Oh, don't worry, most of you will see other users because you're connected on Network Plus 2.
Yeah.
So I'll double click on my computer now. Did you see on my folder that I've been sharing? Did you see my folder I've been sharing?
Yes.
Okay, what is John not allowed to do?
It's not to.
What is John not allowed to do? What is John's group? Sales. They are not allowed to access the debit department folder.
Yes.
So let's open the debit. What's it saying?
Windows cannot access debit.
No, you do not have what?
Permission to
Permission. Okay, let's go to sales. It says opening. Let's go to credit. Is credit opening? Now, is John allowed to write on credit? Is he allowed to write on credit? No. Let's right click now. New. Let's try to create a new document. What's it saying? You don't have permission. Okay, let's go back to sales. Is he allowed to create on sales? Let's click on it. Is he creating? Exactly.
So the thing is, if I open up, so if
Guys,
John-
I'll stop here.
if John-
And that is it.